6 successful businesses, multi-millions of dollars made, and grief and the loss of a soulmate in a really tragic situation. This is the story of one of my dearest clients, Alyssa Cooper. And if you are here on this live right now, this is such an important conversation because first of all, the women that I work with some have been through a lot. And Alyssa Cooper is the best example of a woman who has literally been through everything, who has faced really difficult moments in her life. Yet she has founded incredible businesses that have generated millions of dollars and faced a really difficult situation in where she lost the love of her life. And now she is rising into a totally different direction in her soul's purpose. And I wanted to bring her on here on this live because there is something to be said about a woman who has walked through fire to be where she is and what she's doing right now. And I, as a mentor, her mentor, have learned a lot. And she's an incredible human being, an incredible soul, a successful entrepreneur, all the things. But most importantly, she has been through something that most of us can't even fathom. And there's so much lessons and things to be learned through grief and taking the grief to create freedom in our life's purpose. And I'm going to be bringing on Alyssa to share her story. And I'm just a forewarning, there might be some tears shed in this because we did a live maybe about 6 or 7 months ago, and a couple of people reached out to me being like, oh my gosh, that hit me really hard. Yeah, it does. And this work that we do it's nuanced because there's beauty in it. And then there's things that come in the way of life. And she's just an incredible human being. And I'm honored to share her journey with you and how she birthed through her next iteration of her soul's purpose and her next business, Cocoon to Butterfly. And this came through her through the most difficult moment of losing the love of her life. And it brought her into this purpose and this iteration of her life's work. So I am so excited to bring her on. You are going to learn so much. Work she's doing now after what she's been through is just a testament to the amazingly strong, devoted, mission-driven woman that she is. And I'm so excited. Hello, Alyssa.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Let me move
Oh,
this for a
beautiful. Oh, I am just, I was just reflecting, even before I was about to hop on live, I'm like, how do I even introduce you? Because like you are one, I mean, I'm just blessed to work with the most incredible women. But what I love about you is that you've actually, like, you have built multiple businesses, first and foremost, and multiple businesses that have generated millions of dollars in cash. And you have been an entrepreneur for a long time. And you're like, I know this game, baby. I know this game. And, I feel like you probably feel this is true for you, but like there is a old life that you had, and the new life that you're stepping into and this new iteration of your life's purpose that was really created through a really tragic situation. And I just, Alyssa, I think the world of you, of who you are as a woman and what you have been through. And it just says so much that regardless of the things that life throws at us and in our way, that you turned it into gold and you alchemized it, not just for yourself, but for others.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and I'm so grateful to have found you and hired you. It's been a little more than 6 months, I think, that I had you start mentoring me, and it started off in the space of, David was the systemized portion of our power couple, and he was the innovator, and I was the implementator, and after the death of David and just really burning everything down of who I was with them as a couple, because that was our brand, was the Mullers. But then going even deeper than that, like I get to like kind of wipe the slate clean, if you will. And I know for some
Mhm.
of you guys, this might sound a little harsh, but it literally was, I knew it was going to be the only way that I could live without him here on this plane. And so I went all the way back to childhood. You know, what brought me joy, what made me
Mhm.
happy. And then I just rebuilt a framework of who I was. And it literally was Cocoon to Butterfly. No intentions at the time of like creating a business out of it or even sharing it with others. I was very, very public on Facebook because I used it as a diary. David and I had huge tribe, mainly on Facebook.
Mhm.
And when he first, when I first found him in the shower, we were traveling on a cruise and we were coming into Liverpool. I found him in the shower and he had two brain bleeds. I knew I could not keep up with everybody that would want to know what's going on. So I obviously, connected with family members of his and mine. Those were the go-to. And then I just journaled every day on Facebook. Here's the up to date because he lived for 5 days. And then ultimately, the doctor made a mistake and that's why he ended up leaving his body, and passing away. But I continued it after that for my own, like, honestly, I was doing it for myself just to like get it
Mhm.
out, just to write it. And I really at first didn't really want to answer anybody's questions. I didn't want anybody feeling bad for me or feeling whatever emotion it was. And I'm such a servant driven person that I knew that
Mhm.
if they messaged me, I would feel obligated to message back. And I just didn't have the bandwidth.
Of
So
course.
just framing that, like it took me about 6 months to go through my first Cocoon to Butterfly. And then I went out and I butterflied, which I peopled. And along that journey, I learned so much about myself. And how I found you was I realized that in this new frame, I was going to be launching businesses because I've always been an
Mhm.
entrepreneur since I'm
Mhm.
53. So my first business was birthed in my early
Wow.
20s.
You're
And
the
yeah,
OG.
I
If there
am
was like an
the OG.
OG entrepreneur award, it would be handed here on this live to you. You're the OG of entrepreneurs. Mhm.
Yeah, it's funny because I joke. I'm like, I feel like I'm in my late 20s. It's just kind of interesting. But anyway, yeah. So I knew that this new divine feminine business
Mhm.
entrepreneur, I was just drawn to you right away. I just loved your soul. I loved how you embodied caring. And yes, we're gonna make an F ton of money because money is energetically like what we're just aligned to energetically make that transfer. But what do we do with the
Yeah.
money? And I was very aligned with your how you presented yourself as a coach, as a guide, if you will. And so, yeah, I mean, honestly, I got to give you credit to the live event that's coming up in the end of June because it was at your Brazil mastermind that I had the dream of the dream of this live event happening. So I just like, so part of it is like you're part of the development of this movement called Cocoon the Butterfly.
Yeah.
When I hired you, and I already had it, I had created the box experience, and you helped
Mhm.
me, kind of get through that marketing
Have
aspect, if
here.
you will. But yeah, yeah,
Have your
yay.
box here. Yeah. It's really beautiful what you've created. And what I love about you is that like what the fact that you went through this really horrific experience, and I feel like people go through seasons of their life where it's really difficult, it's really hard, and they just integrate it, they keep it for themselves. And I think that I always say that we are the chosen ones for our mission, for the thing that we were brought here to do. And sometimes that doesn't come in pretty packaging in an incredible situation. It sometimes comes in pain, in grief, in loss. And it's like what choosing to take that pain and turn it into purpose, turn it into helping other people. And what I love about you, Alyssa, is that like even this box that I have here is like it's so cool because you've taken something that people can do in their own home, because I really feel, especially for the thing around grief, it's such a heavy, personal, sacred, intimate thing. And it's like you've brought this healing process for people to do on their own, but with the community. And to me, I'm like, it's so genius. And it's something that I haven't seen done. Like, I think that you were the first. Yeah, I would say that you're probably the first entrepreneur, maybe one of the first entrepreneurs that I've worked with, that like you have something that like you've created physically for people to go through your own process, but there's also an online component, right? There's also like your 9-week Grief to Freedom Cocoon to Butterfly like transformational program. There's also a Facebook community. It's so incredible that you thought about this, because I'm like, it is true. Like there are some people like me, like I like having something physical, you know, to accompany on my journey. And then it's like you've taken something that people can do within their home and then immerse that online. And
Yes.
then on top of it, the live event. And the crazy part is that you decided to do the live event like just recently. You're like, you had this download in Brazil, and you're like, no, I move. You move so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because the life that I had with David, I like strategy, blah, 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 reverse engineer, calendar block, all the actions, and then the blinders on and got the job done. And if you ever take strength finders, mine number one was achiever.
Mhm.
And so that is no longer me. However, I do still, I take the time to sit with it. I have my own like protocol of feeling in my chakra, and then the signs and synchronicities that develop. And yeah, I mean, after your event, I didn't tell anybody about it. And literally, three of the people that were at the mastermind will be on the stage, to include you being the speaker. So I didn't tell anybody about it. I was like, okay, I'm going to sit on this, and gave it 48 hours. And then when I got home within 3 days, I had walked the place that was in my dream of where it would be, and that was the available weekend. It was available.
Yeah.
Everything just aligned, and so it is interesting to me. The box. I kind of want to circle back to that. The box came to me also, interestingly enough, on the big island of Hawaii. I was at another mastermind,
Something
and Cocoon
about
the
you and being
Butterfly.
in masterminds where you just
I
like
know
the floodgates
it's
open.
surrounded by all these amazing humans that are also living in their gifts and doing their movements. I think that's what it does. It just like
Mhm.
percolates. But I got this download to contact my friend Mark, who I'd met after David died, and he has a company called Custom Box Agency. And so God just true source kept on saying, like, connect with Mark, connect with Mark. So I got an appointment with Mark, flew down to Austin, where he's based out of, and we curated this box experience, because what I got the download of is grief can come in all forms. Like for me, obviously, it was the death of my husband. It could be being an empty nester. My sister lost her job over Zoom during the pandemic of 28 years of dedicating her entire life to this business, who was
Wow.
a worldwide global name brand, and then they let her go. She was like top 3 in the company,
Wow.
and she never thought that would happen. You talk about grief, like it was parallel the same as the death of my husband. This was her identity, the sacrifice that she had given, having children and a family and all the things to be this
Mhm.
high achieving on. Yes, she was an entrepreneur, but she worked for this company, so she had no control, and they let her go. That was huge grief. So
Yeah.
grief comes in all forms. So the download I got is like, some people want to do it in the privacy of their own home, and because of my coaching background, I come from a coaching background of owning a gymnastics school. So I was an athlete, and then I coached for decades of my life. The children learned in all different capabilities, audio, visual. And so the download was like, some people need tactical things to
Yeah.
touch, not just a video that they follow, which you get to have that. But
Yeah.
then you have this box where you go through each of the stages, you open up the envelope. It's like achievement. Yes, achievement in like the 3D realm, but it feels good to be like, okay, I
Yeah.
checked that off, you know?
Yeah.
And so the other thing that was amazing is this box can be delivered to your doorstep, privacy of your own home, or you can invite your friends, and you can do it like a book club once a week where they order their box, you come together in community, and it's more of a controlled environment community
Mm.
versus the live event, which is you're going to build, you're going to go through the box experience with people that you've never met before, which some
Mm.
people love. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I would have found myself at a live event prior to this, but I would have
Mm.
loved to have a book club, like
Yeah.
with my closest
Yeah.
friends going through this together, you know?
Yeah. And I think too, what the thing that I always tell people from the get-go is community is the most essential thing to us as human beings. And if we can create community around our God-given gifts, come on, like that is the best thing that we can give somebody. It's like we are giving them the gifts of like the things that we've learned, alchemizing it to teach and mentor and guide others, but then adding on this community aspect, which is why like so many people are going to live events. Why? Because I think people are getting burnt out of just always being on Zoom, always being online, always being online, right? Really, we're always online. And I think, I've been to a lot of live events, obviously, like both as an attendee and also as a speaker. And what's different about this is that this is not just for entrepreneurs. Like, this is really for anybody that's wanting to like have more liberation and freedom in their life by alchemizing the different parts of them. Like maybe there is grief, and here's the thing about grief is that we always think about grief as like, oh, it like you have to have had like you suffered a really terrible loss. That's one aspect of grief, but there's grief that comes in all different areas. The grief and the loss of a relationship, the grief of loss of a business, the grief of a loss of like, shedding an old identity of yourself, and you're realizing that you've built a life that you are not in love with anymore. You feel like a different person. It's like midlife crisis, or we hear these words, quarter life crisis, whatever we want to call it. And it's like, no, it's actually like this death and rebirth. And it comes in many forms. So I would love for you to speak on, because yes, I'm going to be at this event, Cocoon Butterfly. And I just want to say, like, what would you say to somebody who, like, who would this be this event be for? You know?
Well, first off, we kind of already talked about how grief comes in all forms, but honestly, this event starts at any low frequency or low vibration that us in this human experience that we have, like on the daily. Like you might be upset or sad or mad or angry. Like all of those are frequencies that we need to acknowledge, but we also know that they're not helping us at our, aligning with our highest version of ourselves, or our highest timeline, if you will. But we don't want to just like say, okay, I recognize it and then forge through and power through. That's the old way.
Yes.
The new way is to recognize
Yeah.
it, to speak to it, and then, through the 9 stages, you learn to release it. So literally, you're never going to have a bad day in your life again. Shit's going to happen, crap's going to happen, challenges going to happen, but you're going to learn how to alchemize these emotions and not try to speed through them to get through them, but
Yeah.
actually to sit in them, to ultimately the freedom, which is the 9th stage, is okay. Like the old me, freedom was my number one need. Like in every decision I made, is this going to ultimately make me free? Then I'm going to say yes. Short term sacrifice for non freedom, sure, no problem. But long term, no way would I say yes to something if I knew it was going to keep me captive. This identification or this definition of freedom is actually finding yourself, like coming home to you.
Yeah.
Which I never had in my 51 years of existing on this human experience. I actually didn't know me. I thought I did, and I thought I loved me, but I actually didn't, because I let other relationships shape me. And of course, I was very successful. I was happy. But if I was being extremely honest with myself, I was not living
Yeah.
in the actual being that I am now.
Yeah.
And I can't even identify why. I can just
Mhm.
tell you that David's death helped me find me through this Cocoon to Butterfly experience. So as far as like the live event, what I love about it is I've been to a ton of events as well, spoke on stage, been an audience member throughout my entire life. And what I always felt after events is the emptiness after it was over. You felt so amazing, and then you got to life, and like, how many of you guys feel that way? You get back to life, and you're like, oh, I missed that feeling of that event, but you can't figure out how to get the feeling back again. Well, all of the speakers will be taking one of the stages of the Cocoon to Butterfly box and then sharing a modality that you get to have and learn for after the event, like breath
Yeah.
work, like sound bath healing, like tapping, every single one of them. And they're already living in the expertise of their field. So they're experts. And Steph, I'm so excited because they're jonesing to come. Like they were just like, yes, please pick me. I want to be a part of this movement. I just feel so honored and blessed because there's like every one of them have pages of their resume of what they've already given to the collective in their field.
Yeah.
Like it's just that to me is what I think. If you're feeling called and you can get to the live event, there'll be others as well. but it's June 28th and 29th in Tacoma, Washington. And it'll be both days. And you'll end the event feeling more free
Mm.
because it's not one and
Mm.
done. It literally, like,
Yeah.
I've been through probably a dozen Cocoon to Butterfly since David has died. But I recognize now the stages that they're in and
Hmm.
I embrace them with love.
Hmm.
And okay, what is this teaching me about myself so I can get to know me even better?
Yeah. What I also think too, like, I was feeling into this of one thing that I've known is so important about entrepreneurs and the things that I see for entrepreneurs who go on to succeed is they have become masters of personal development and emotional mastery. They have mastered the uh like this ability to regulate themselves, to really hold capacity, to really go through their own emotions and processes. And to me, the inner work, I would say that's the most important thing of being an entrepreneur. You're talking about being an entrepreneur. It is a personal development game. That's really what it is. You're constantly being tested. You're constantly being challenged, and it demands and requires a lot of you. Because if it wasn't like that, then everybody would be doing it, and everybody would be making it and succeeding, right?
Yes.
And so when I think about your event and what makes a difference from other events is that it's so focused on the individual itself, not on, what are your qualifications, what are you doing. It's like you, the human,
Yes.
right? Because you're the thing that determines your own success. Nothing is guaranteed. It's you yourself that determines how far you go. And that's a heck of a lot easier to do when you know yourself, when you're able to move through really difficult emotions and know how to help yourself, soothe yourself, give yourself, tools and modalities to use.
Yes.
And your ability to move through grief or anger or disappointment or rejection and not let it take days or weeks or months. Like you move through that quickly because you have tools, you have processes, you know yourself. And so this Cocoon to Butterfly event, I think what I love about it and why it's so different is that it's going to be like this. I think of this like bubble that we're all coming into, like a cocoon. I don't know, right? This cocoon that we are literally coming into. Oh gosh, just dropped your box. This cocoon that we're coming into. And it's like there's going to be these different healing modalities. Like there's going to be breath work, there's going to be sound healing, there's going to be tapping, there's going to be, my own speech of what I'm bringing through. And it's going to be this entire like weekend journey of what I really think is like mind, body, and soul nourishing to give you, the individual, the most important thing that you need to alchemize everything that comes your way, to
Yes.
create the reality in which you desire. Because everybody on this planet, they always say, I want freedom. Okay, you want freedom in your relationships, like you meaning you want to like feel loved and accepted, right? Or you want freedom to make money. I don't know. You want freedom to travel the world. You want freedom to make the decisions that you want to make. You want the freedom to live life on your terms. Then that comes with you being in full alignment with yourself,
Yes.
and how you do that, how you create freedom is moving through the fear. And that's really hard to do when you're not in alignment with yourself, when you don't fully know yourself, when you don't really fully know how to go through the difficult times and through the difficult emotions.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the other things too that you'll learn in the event, that it took me a hot minute to learn is the yes no questions. Like I can now help people that go through Cocoon to Butterfly by helping them identify in their body whether it's a yes or a no, because your body
Mm,
knows everything that we need is within us.
yes,
Actually, like that's the
it
other
is.
thing that I learned. My spiritual mentor used to tell that to me, and I did not understand it because we're programmed to think that everything outside of us is actually like helps us,
Mhm.
uh but it's interesting because when you start realizing everything you have is within you, yes, having a mentor, having a guide, having a coach is important, but all they're doing is pointing back to you what is
Mhm.
already there, what is
Yes.
actually already there. That's what Cocoon to Butterfly does. It is going to show you, okay, where do you need to be curious? Because man, that triggered me, or that hurt, and whoa, that was weird. Like that didn't sit well. So instead of pointing the finger at the other person that maybe said that thing that triggered you, or maybe your boss that did this thing to you, or a family member that made you feel this way,
Mhm.
or you're triggered by, oh my gosh, this childhood wound that keeps on showing up. Cocoon to Butterfly is going to help you acknowledge it, speak to it, recognize it, the phases that it goes through, and you'll be able to come out the other end in 48 hours. There's no guarantee, but I can tell you you'll be changed for the better in knowing that if you
Mm.
continue with Cocoon to Butterfly, you will literally have no more bad days. That's the thing that David keeps on giving to me. No more bad days, Alyssa. You're teaching them how to have no more bad days, because when you have a challenge or you're triggered, you're not going to take it as, oh my God, this happened to me again. Oh my gosh,
Mm.
why does this always happen? It's going to be, oh, whoa, what is this alerting me to? Like, I'm
Yeah.
curious. This is interesting. Hey, friend, you're showing up again. What am I,
Yeah.
what I need to pay attention to about this? Yeah,
Yeah.
your body keeps the score. I know it's a great book, so read
Yeah.
that. Definitely dropping that book, but yeah, your body keeps the score.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's coming to this place of like neutrality when things happen. Like, I mean, and I think working with so many entrepreneurs, like one of the biggest things that gets in the way is not like, I don't know how to do the launch or I don't know what to say, or it's like, it is literally a lot of it is a mindset.
Yeah.
It is the mindset, and it's also the identity, and it's also like the internal work and the parts of us that it activates, right?
Yeah.
And then the subconscious mind and which parts of us end up leading.
Yeah.
And so for your event, I think this is going to be so helpful whether somebody is an entrepreneur or not. It does not matter, because this is about you, the human,
Yeah.
right? About how you move through the difficult emotions, how you process different things, how you really turn something maybe negative or something, hard that you're experiencing and alchemize it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you also helped me remember one of so with the dream of the dream, what True Source told me when I was still within the dream. So this is the dream of the dream, is he showed me the spider web, because I was so very laser focused on helping people step into their gifts to raise ascension and create businesses, because that's really my wheelhouse. Like David and I created many, many businesses, and 6 of them like hit the checked off box to keep, but we did dozens of failing forward businesses.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a checkoff spot so that we didn't lose everything. Like we had that
Yeah.
systemized as well. So anyway, the spider web shows up, and God was very, very direct. And I know this because it's like a roar when he talks to me. He's like, Alyssa, after the event, and then I like astroplaned to each of the people that had gone to the event, this dream of the dream, and I saw how a woman went home and healed her family, a man went home and held his workspace, and then other people, yes, created businesses, but the spider
Wow.
web, it didn't matter whether you had 10 of the parts of the spider web or one. They all had to go away from the event and utilize what they gained in their skill set of themselves to raise consciousness in their space, and they all mattered. The spider web was not complete
Mm.
if not if so every single one of them mattered. And that's what I feel like when you ask, like, who's this event for? It really is whoever feels aligned to be called to be there in the room at the very first one. Like I said, there will be more. The download was that I'll have 4 in the first 12 months, and then 1 every single month throughout the United States after that. So this is literally a movement that
Mm.
we're just getting
Mm.
started. And then some of you guys will be like, no, thank you. I don't want to be in a live event doing this experience in front of other people. That sounds like the worst idea ever. Then maybe you're called to have the box delivered and you do it in the privacy of your own home.
Yeah.
And yeah, either
But
way.
I'm the type of person that's like, let's explore that belief. Where is this really coming from? Like, mm, because sometimes there is like this defense mechanism, like I need to stay protected. But if I've learned anything, is that being in community is the most healing thing, because our core desire as a human is to feel a sense of belonging. And so what you're creating is a space where people to go dive in deeper into themselves, to really realign mind, body, and soul using so many different modalities. And like this live event is not just you, it's also other facilitators. Like you have a breathwork person, you have the like sound healing. I'm like, it's literally like all you have to do is walk through the doors, surrender to the process, and allow yourself to go through it and just see what emerges for you. And for me, like really being like, God, like show me what I need to experience in this 2-day live event, because there's going to be a lot of things unfolding, right? You have a different, I love that you have, somebody doing this. Like, I love sound healing. To me, it's like every time I've done like a sound bath healing, I feel like I leave there like vibrating, like literally. and you're bringing in breath work and tapping and the different speakers that you have. It's seriously like, it is a really a space where people are going through, yes, your methodology, Cocoon Butterfly, the 9 stages, but really utilizing their mind, body, and soul to do it, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. And out the end for them is they will really discover their
Mm.
gifts. Every one of us have gifts. Everyone. And unfortunately, we've been programmed, whatever cards we got dealt are the cards that we got dealt. And if you haven't tapped into your gift yet, it will definitely ignite that. That's one. And if you have, it's going to ignite your gift. And that is what I was given the download from True Source, from God, that's what's going to heal all
Yes.
of us. Is if we all step into our
Yes.
gift, come home to self,
Mm-hmm.
like in internal ascension, and then we just are light. We're light beaming for everyone else to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Like, we're
Totally.
not trying to coach people or fix people. That is the old way. Now we're like,
Yes.
start with us and then just light
Yeah.
the path for everybody else to have permission to do the
Yeah.
same.
And the other thing too is that, like, what I've learned for myself, and even your success as a business owner, like as a woman who's made multi-millions in her business, myself, all the people that we work with, all of like my clients, and what I think about is, I think the reason why, yes, the reason why we create the success we've created is there's many of them, but one of them is we're stepping into our power. We're
Yes.
powerful women that choose to move from a place of power. And that does not happen when you are not fully aligned with yourself. It is very hard to lead yourself when you are not aligned, mind, body, and spirit. Very hard. And we become so much more powerful, and we really, we really emerge forward no matter how hard or difficult it is. Fear's never going to go away. The challenges that life throws at you are never going to go away. It's never going to go away. It's a part of life, but how you move through that is really equipping yourself with the tools, with the emotional resilience, with knowing how to move through really difficult things by being like one with yourself,
Yes.
and leaning on faith and surrendering, but moving from a place of power, our innate power.
Yes. Yeah. And we all have it. Like, that's the beautiful part of this journey is, prior to David's death, I feel like the way that I was programmed is I did it because I freaking did the work. Like,
Yeah.
and I powered through, bootstraps up. I mean, I recognized all the challenge and I recognized the shit, the bad stuff, but I was just like, okay, it's there, but that's not going to stop me. I'm going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, now the opposite is, oh, this is actually like, I'm curious about why this is hurting right here, like in my solar plexus, or why my hair is like lighting up, like, your body tells you. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, all of us who go through a dark alley and you're crossing somebody's path and you're like, oh, something's not right here. It's very similar. We can all tap into literally living every day in joy by just listening to our body is going to tell us this is a no.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to burn a bridge or be rude or be considered like a bitch or whatever, like a bad person because you're saying no. No, you're saying no because it's not aligning to you. Like,
Yeah.
no apologies
Yeah.
necessary. It's just like, no, it's just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
I
the power.
It is
That's
the
the power.
power. It is the power. And the power is like, the whole thing about like even people pleasing, or why we say yes to things that are just not fully aligned, is because we're afraid of not belonging, right? They're like, our belongingness is threatened. But a lot of this comes like down to our relationship with ourselves and in which parts we choose to operate from. So for anyone listening right now, first and foremost, like, to anybody who is, whether you're going through grief in some sort of way, maybe it is the loss of a loved one, maybe it's the loss of, I don't know, a life path or a job, or you're experiencing a disrupt in your relationship, you're moving through something really difficult. It's like the old life that you're experiencing is crumbling and you feel like, I can't keep going on the way that I've been going on, it's no longer in alignment. I really suggest that you reach out to Alyssa. And there are multiple ways for people to work with you. But what I love about you, and what I always look for when I choose to work with somebody, especially with you, it is incredibly amazing for women to work with a woman like you because you're wise. You've been through a lot in your life and you have so many gifts inside of you for women to really feel seen in their experience. You've lived like multiple lifetimes in one single life.
Yeah.
You know, you've walked various paths. You've been through very difficult things that most people can't even fathom. And I think that when we're looking at, you know, choosing a coach or a guide or a mentor to work with, I think it's so important that we work with people that we feel called to or that have been through a lot and they're on the other side of it and they see you and they're like, I know where you are. I see you and I've got you and you're not walking this path alone. You know, and you know, to anybody listening to this live right now, like entrepreneur or not, like life can be hard. And it's so important that you find yourself a support system of somebody who sees you, who understands you, who has been through a lot. And they are the example of it does get to be better. It does get to be better. Maybe not right now, but it does. And I'm here to help you. You know, and you are just such an incredible guide and steward. And every time we get on our calls, like I feel even though I'm working with you, I'm mentoring you, but I also learn and have learned a lot through you because you're just so wise. You've just been through so much. And even in our conversations and your perspective, I'm like, wow, I'm learning and expanding. So it just goes to show of just how like you're an old soul, you know, like you're an old soul and there's so much for you to help people with, you know, in various capacities. So if you're listening right now and maybe you've been like wanting to work with somebody in more of like I try to think of like a spiritual but life coaching way of really like going through maybe a life disrupt and you're needing somebody who really understands you, that's you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because the way that David and I set kind of ourselves up, we knew that obviously one of us would go before the other. We thought it was going to be in our 80s, but obviously, like 50 is so young. I did
Yeah.
not think that I would, have to like burn down, the businesses that we built together, but I did. And, financially, it's interesting because I still have half my life still to live, really. And so I've thought to myself, obviously I can retire the rest of my life and travel the world and I'll be fine. But this movement
Mhm.
just is just it keeps me up every day. Like
Yeah.
I'm just lit up and helping people. And so I'll be launching my first two containers of groups of people to go through the Cocoon to Butterfly. So what Stephanie's sharing is they'll be starting after the live event, but we're going to do some so if you're interested, and I'm only doing two groups of containers to start off with, just
Yes.
for my own capacity and bringing my own joy.
And
But
it's
yeah,
deep
so if,
work.
yeah,
Like
it's very
it's
deep.
deep work. You can't hold hundreds of people in the work that you're doing,
No,
which is why it's so special and so sacred. You're doing really deep work with
yeah.
people.
So if like Stephanie said, if you feel kind of aligned, you feel called, connect with me. Obviously, we're on IG now. You can just start following me and message me. This is my movement. Like I'm a conduit for it. It's not mine. I'm just a conduit, but it is what I'm going to spend the next 40 years doing is
Yeah.
ascension work,
Yeah.
and I'm really excited about it. And there's I always tell people there's only one first, and this is it. Like I've been through many firsts in my life, like being 53, like lots of firsts, and the firsts are always like so exciting. They're like you get to
Yeah.
say, "I was the first. I
Totally.
was at the first live event. I was in the first container." I was, it's just
Yeah.
so. If you feel like you want to be that, just reach out to me, and I'll give you the next steps. But I'm just excited to be here, Steph, on your platform, and I just feel so blessed and honored to be mentored by you, and I feel very aligned with you, and I just feel very safe with your mentorship. And it's a beautiful thing. And I think a lot of people that are my age that have been as successful as I have probably would not, it would be hard to hire somebody. Like, I don't even know how old you are. I just know that you're a lot younger than me, but I saw it's the capacity, here's the
Yeah.
thing is like we can all teach each other,
Yeah.
but I felt truly like wow, it's amazing to be mentored by you, and I just feel like you're just full of love. That's the thing that comes to mind is just full of love.
Thank you. Because I
Yes.
love you and I care about the work that you're doing and I care because it's something that is literally your soul's purpose. Like you're choosing to do this work. You choose to do it. You choose to be in service. You choose to follow your mission, and I think that's the most beautiful thing about the women that I work with. It's like, I'm choosing to do this because this is literally why I'm here.
Yeah.
This season and this iteration, this era of my life is the path that has unfolded, and you've trusted it, and it's just been so incredible to see. And I think the cool thing is that it goes to show that no matter what age you are, give yourself to your mission,
Yes.
because this and what we're doing isn't about us. The work that you're doing isn't about you. It's about the people that we're here to help and be in service to humanity and ascend collectively.
Yeah.
And your own way of doing that is so unique. So it's just an honor to work with you and just see what you've done. And I think you have poured literally your life's work into what you're doing, and you've created something from one of the most tragic and horrific things in your life. And you went through your own process of grief to take it, alchemize it, and make it easier for other people to say, you don't have to do this on your own. You don't have to do this, whether it's a loss of a loved one, whether if it's a divorce, an ending of a relationship, right? Losing a job, whatever it is, it's like, you don't have to do this alone. And I've created this for you, and it's like, it's really incredible what you've done. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm honored to be supporting you in your sacred work in this world. It's an honor. I'm just like, wow, just in such odd admiration of like, you seeing you now, and I can't even imagine who you were then, of like building all these businesses, and and very much in like the 3D world. And now you're doing it in such a different way of like, no, this is the time I really choose my soul's purpose, my way, and helping humanity. So I would love to quickly close on the invitation of the event, which, by the way, if you're listening right now, I'm going to be speaking at. So if you come to the live event with me, we're definitely going to be hanging out, probably going for dinner, and just like being in this, literally this cocoon that is going to feed your mind and your body and your soul.
Yeah. And then your tribe has a discount code
Yes,
for you
they do.
too. So that's exciting. Yes.
They do. So if you want to come with me, you want more information, I also have my own code. And when you come through me, like, yes, you get to be at the live event and you get to experience my work. I will be speaking on stage. And also, we're going to hang out together. Like, I am somebody who, there are people who are like, I don't want to spend time with my people. Like, I just like me time. I'm like, no, I want to know, like, let's go for dinner. Let's hang out. Like, that's just me. I love hanging out with my people. So if you're listening to this right now, you want to come to a live event that while will serve you for sure as an entrepreneur, but will serve you as a whole freaking human, the whole woman that you are, that will literally be feeding your mind, body, and soul in a totally other way. Come into my DMs, have a conversation. Do you want to give a little bit of the details of the event?
Sure. Yeah, so it's Saturday and Sunday, June 28th, 29th. It's in Tacoma, Washington. If you're flying in, it's just SeaTac. It's 30-minute like Uber drive. You wouldn't even have to get a
Mhm.
car.
I'm like,
And
literally, it's just Seattle. Can we just call it Seattle? Because to me,
yeah,
like,
yes,
it's
yeah,
Seattle.
Seattle, yeah. And so there'll be food there. I mean, we're basically going to take you in, for the day, Saturday and Sunday. You'll arrive registered. You get a box. You get the box that Steph is just holding up, and it's part one, part two box. And then you'll spend the next 2 days just going through each stage with the speaker that's assigned to each of the stages. And yeah, I'm just excited to meet you and see you if the live event is calling to you. Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely if you're there and you're coming with me, and we will probably do some masterminding like, if we're all going to go for dinner. So whoever comes with me, we're going to go for dinner. We're going to hang out and we'll do some masterminding. So we'll take what we're doing at your event, a Cocoon to Butterfly, the things that we're learning. And it's like, okay, how do we integrate that into our business? Right.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, that's priceless right there. Are you kidding?
Hmm.
I
Oh
love
yeah,
it.
and like, I love myself. I'm like, I love to master, like, tell me all the things, let's mastermind. But it's so cool to be able, like, I'm also excited. Yes, I'm excited to speak. Yes, I'm excited, but it's like, I'm just excited to be there and to just enjoy the experience and be a part of it and go through the breath work, the sound healing, the different speakers, and to just allow myself to receive. And I think that that's so important, is just fully allowing ourselves to receive.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That is my newest, if I'm gonna like, this is my newest journey is the
Mm-hmm.
receiving. Like it's I even told Steph, I'm like, it's so hard for me to receive, but I know it's my newest thing.
Yeah.
Like, I have to, in order to be a conduit for this, I have to ask for help and I have to be open to receive. So,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And it's difficult because like when you're like a go-getter entrepreneur, it's like no. And it's yeah, we could be like, no, I need to work on receiving. So
yes,
this will
yes.
be a space June 28th, 29th in Tacoma, Washington, which is just out of Seattle. For me, I'm like, oh, it's out of Seattle, right? Like, yeah,
Yes.
just out of Seattle. So you fly into Seattle. That's where I'm flying
Yes.
into, and we'll go on a journey together. And I'm so excited. Alyssa, you are amazing. I am just honored to be supporting you. I can't wait for your live event. And if you're resonating with Alyssa stories, go and connect with her on Instagram. And whether you come to the live event or you join her upcoming containers, like it's deep work. Right? It is deep work. It's not work where you're just like, you're swimming in like the shallow area. No, nothing happens there. Like you have to go really, really deep. The amount that you experience the depth within yourself is the extension of the freedom and what you create externally. So
Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Stephanie, so much for having
you're
me
so
on.
welcome.
It was so
Have an
nice to meet
amazing,
all of you guys.
mwah,
Yes.
I love you so much. Have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you in June.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.